Hello, Spartans. It's your host, Get Good Fox, and today I'm going to be exploring the map Deadlock. This is the first of the big team battle maps that I've done in the walkthroughs. So, yeah, let's get down there and figure out where all the items are, and especially from the perspective of dealing with vehicles. And here we are. Welcome to Deadlock. So yeah, this is a big team battle map, meaning it's quite large, very large, in fact, so it could take a moment to look through all of it. But let's get started. Remember that you can push down on the D-pad to send this little crazy wave out, and it will help you locate things. So, right off the bat on the back here, I'm not sure whose base we're on. I believe this is red team's base, based on kind of the coloration of things. Let me see if we can get a little higher. Yeah, so this is red team's base. For some perspective, this is where the flag would typically be. And right off the bat, we've got ourselves our close combat option here, a heat wave. The weapon spawns are somewhat random, meaning you could easily get a bulldog, the shotgun, instead. On the opposite side, we've got ourselves a stalker rifle. This is a very long-range weapon. And yeah, so right off the bat, you got a very long-range option and a very close-range option, depending on what you want. This can also be a shock rifle. Both of those are really good, but the shock rifle is really nice because it can electrify enemy vehicles and shut them down. And even if you don't have an anti-vehicle weapon, just being able to shut the vehicles down, your allies, it's 12 versus 12, so your allies might grenade it. So over here we had a drop wall.
Drop wall deployed.
And before we go down, let's check the top. I don't think there's anything up here. It doesn't look like it, so let's go ahead and drop back down. So here we have our Warthog. And you'll be seeing this area right here really frequently. In fact, I always stop here. Oh, interesting. It's a pair of the same weapons. Normally, it's one of each. Normally, you get one commando and one battle rifle, but not the case here. So I typically always check, whenever I respawn in this area, which is very frequent, I always try to grab a new weapon here. There's no reason to go out with your basic equipment. There's usually always a weapon around. Might as well grab something. So send out some more waves. And over here we've got ourselves the shock rifle. I can actually demonstrate it now. So the shock rifle, we just put a few shots into it. As you can see right there, it electrifies it, and that shuts down the engine and allows just cuts the engine off, and they can't move until until the shocking is done. Over here we've got ourselves the new and improved shade turret. This turret has hard light shields, it seems like, and the shields actually can be shot off, but they will regenerate. It's a pretty tough turret. It actually takes a lot of damage, and unlike turrets in the past, you can see that the plasma bolts, they travel very, very quickly. They're not slow. And there's a one on the other side, but this massive orbital gun is in the way to block it so that the turrets can't fire at each other. I believe it's a once-a-game turret. If the turret is destroyed, I think it's just gone for the remainder of the match. I've never seen it respawn. So we're going to ignore these little drop-ins because the drop-ins are random. You don't know where they're going to drop. You don't know what you're going to get. I feel like we're going to take the tunnel path, though. So let's go over here. I think I might grab a mongoose on the way. Just because, like I said, this map is designed for big team battles, so might as well. We could still use the pulses while we're on the vehicle, so here's another weapon. Over here we've got ourselves a plasma pistol. I don't know what the plasma pistol shares itself with. I think it shares with the regular pistol and maybe the Mangler? Can't remember. Over here we've got ourselves an active camo. You'll know where its location is based on the fact that it's right over here into this cave. It does not mirror itself over there. I'm pretty sure there are no power-ups over there. Don't despawn. Let me get back at you before you despawn on me. But if we were to go through the cave, which is exactly what we're going to do, we would find another power-up on the opposite side of the cave. Let's make sure we're not missing anything. Oh, we just found something down here. So we got ourselves Dynamo Grenades. Now, we also have Plasma Grenades, so I'm going to swap out my frags. This is another pretty important weapon to have. You should pretty much always pick these up when you get the chance. Did it really despawn my... Okay, here it is. Oh, it's not going to electrify it? Okay, well, the Dynamo Grenades normally would electrify vehicles. Maybe it has to be an enemy control. And here we are going into the cave. The cave has 2 items, I'm pretty sure. First up, we've got ourselves another equipment. Got ourselves the Grappling Hook. Very useful. I love having a grappling hook. If you're not in the habit of using it, well, when you play the campaign, it'll teach you to use it a lot more. And then we got ourselves the Cinder Shot. Sometimes this is one of the power weapon spawns. It's not always a Cinder Shot. It can also be a rocket launcher. If you want to use the Cinder Shot and you're having trouble, you want to use the bounce on it. Like, if I shoot it like this, you'll see that it travels very far, but the rule of it is once it bounces off something, it self-destructs very shortly afterwards. So you want to get the hang of the bounce like that, and that will you'll get way more kills bouncing your shots rather than trying to hit them dead on. So we're on the other side, and over here... Oh, there's their weapon drop. Yeah, so when the weapon drop comes in, I guess it drops for both sides. I figured there would be a... Oh, God, the weapon drop literally was right on top of us. So ignore that. That is just a random item weapon drop. I thought there would be a... What do you call it? Another power-up over here. So there's the other side. Are they the only ones? Oh, maybe the power-up is on that side over there. Interesting. Okay, let's get back in this and keep moseying on. Okay, so I know that weapon drop right there, that is random, but this is not. So over here we've got ourselves a Hydra, and the Hydra is pretty handy for... You can use it from a long range to support your allies, or you can use it... that's one really good way because this thing locks on and the missiles will curve. You can also use it to shoot down vehicles, especially helicopters. That said, it does have a limited range, and if the helicopter is flying really high in the air, you might not be able to get close enough to actually lock on and fire the homing missiles. Over here, it looks like we got ourselves another item. This is a pulse carbine. So this weapon is actually pretty good in BTB, and the way you want to use it is zoom in, and that will extend the lock-on range. What you want to do is lock on. You'll know you locked on when it turns red. Fire 1 pulse and switch to your backup weapon and finish them off, because if the full pulse hits, it should strip their shields off. It's kind of the new noob combo in the game, which was using the plasma pistol to sabotage their shields and then finish them off. Okay, over here we've got ourselves a Needler. The Needler shares a spawn with...
A gift from the heavens is inbound.
The Sentinel Beam. And we've got a commando rifle here. So this is like a little sub-base for the other team, because we are moving, I believe we're moving counterclockwise to the base. And so this was like a little, that's their main base over there. That would be their equivalent area. Like, you would spawn in the back in that area here. So this is like a little satellite base that's just a place to... for more people to spawn in case it gets really congested. And as you can see, there aren't as many spawns here, but we do get this little vehicle, this little mongoose available, which is nice. Speaking of mongoose, where is mine? There, just got to grab it before it despawns. Let's move on, though, to the enemy base. And as you can see, the enemy base is more or less a mirror, starting with their shade turret. And as you can see, once again, this massive orbital cannon is blocking the way, so we're not going to be able to attack their shade cannon with ours, which is intentional because it give you like an unfair advantage for it. Did we already find these? I'm pretty sure we found these already. Yeah, that was the pulse carbine. And when we get to their side, it's going to be basically just more of the same over there. However, the spawns are not mirrored, so we got a stalker rifle and a, heat wave. Let's see what they get. So it looks like they got the opposite here. They got the bulldog, but they also got a stalker rifle. I was wondering if maybe they'd get the shock rifle. I guess it's just completely random. Like, you could get the same items, you could have different items. It's just completely random. This is another weapon drop. I'll just grab it to clear them out.
Grab them all, Spartan.
There we go. In addition to that, same thing here. We got our drop wall. We just activate this. They got a warthog here, and then they've got their spawns, which appear to also be a pair of commando rifles. Once again, if that's where you spawn, you would certainly want to pick it up. That means that, yeah, over here, we've got a disruptor. That's kind of unfortunate. I think the other side got a shock rifle there. shock rifle is definitely stronger than a disruptor. So the shock rifle shocks things in 2 hits. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits to actually activate the EMP effect. So I feel like the shock rifle is definitely a bit stronger in that regard. Over here we got some spike grenades. And I think that is about it. Oh, and some plasma grenades over here. Let's move on, though. Continuing onward, so we explored the cave side first. Let's explore the I guess I call it the pelican side because there's a down pelican. Okay, here we go. So this is their power-up spawn on the opposite quarter. So over here we've got ourselves a... You'd think a weapon would spawn in here or some kind of supplies would spawn in here, but no. It does give you a great view of this, though. So if you had like a sniper weapon, you would certainly have a good view, plus some cover right over here. But I'm pretty sure there are some item spawns around here. Overshields. Right over here there should be something. Okay, so we got a mangler. One thing that's nice to know about the mangler is one direct hit followed immediately by a melee. So just kind of go like shot punch. That'll take somebody out because the mangler does a lot of damage, and 2, the melee attack seems to hit pretty hard. So we got some more dynamo grenades, great for sabotaging vehicles. Let me see if there's anything down here. Doesn't look like it. Let's get back in our mongoose and continue on.
I do believe this is ours.
Okay, that's the mangler. That was the random weapon drop. Okay, so here's why I call it the pelican. So as you can see, so instead of a cave, you have this very wide open area, definitely a kill zone if you're trying to get through it. But if you can get to it, what we have here, as you can see, is a downed pelican dropship. And in the middle of the pelican dropship, where it basically broke in half, is the other power weapon spawn. Actually, I think there's a third one. But what we got here is a skewer. It's not always going to be a skewer. It can also be a sniper rifle. The skewer going to be a lot more valuable for destroying vehicles. Sniper rifle better at killing Spartans, though. If you are dealing with an enemy helicopter known as a Wasp, the sniper rifle does a ton of damage to it. Interesting. There's also... Okay, so it looks like the Pelican has... So underneath the wing is a repulsor. Remember, with the repulsor, it's not just about pushing people away. That's how high I jump. Jump repulsor allows you to jump maybe like 3 times higher. It's quite a bit higher. So that would be this area. Let's continue on. We'll explore the middle area last. Pushing into the enemy side. So now that we're on their side, you'll notice that they do not have their own little guard tower. This is where the guard tower would be, but what this is that little side base I mentioned that the other base had. This one would be ours. You've got a threat sensor here. This basically scans for people. So over here we've got the sidekick. That is the human pistol. I believe it shares a spawn with the plasma pistol. There's also this is where one of the mongoose spawns. And over here we got some stuff. We got ourselves another weapon spawn. Oh, nice. An assault rifle. Interesting.
I never tire of this.
Not super useful considering that you actually would spawn with an assault rifle in big team battle, but you know, it's a thing. And then over here,
Eyes up. Ordnance dropping from orbit.
we got ourselves some spike grenades, very similar to the spike grenades that spawned on their beginning area. I think that's, we've basically lapped that, though, the exterior. Let's go ahead and begin looking in the middle, though. So the middle area... Oh, wait, those are even more spike grenades. So we got spike grenades over here. And then we also had spike grenades over there. So no reason to not have grenades. You should definitely be able to get some. So now what we are is we are underneath the massive orbital gun, and we have found a Ravager here. I'm not a big fan of the Ravager. I feel like it doesn't do quite enough damage. If you were going to use it, you probably want to stand back and just kind of like use it kind of like a really weak grenade launcher, and you can just shell enemy control points. Like if it's a capture the base, you can also charge it up and fire one big shot that leaves, as you can see, fire on the ground. So I think that would be the best use of it, would be to try to basically kind of make yourself into like a mortar team to like shell out enemies. So over here, we got a lot of random weapon drops. We're going to ignore those. I didn't realize how quickly the weapon drops appeared. This middle ground is kind of a no man's land. You typically get mowed down by vehicles passing through these areas. You will get a bit of skirmishing. I do know that there should be another power weapon around here. Let me go ahead and get my mongoose, though. Let's see what we can find. So we are sort of... Thank you, mongoose. Back in.
And we're off.
So we are looping around a little bit. So this is where we found the Hydra. Let me make sure I'm right. Yeah, okay. So we're already here. Let's explore deeper into the middle. There is the pulse carbine. And I know there's another weapon spot. Here it is. Found it.
Gift from the heavens is inbound.
Okay, so directly underneath the main body of the orbital gun, you'll have this little rocky area. And this is kind of like, I call it the Crossroads. What is it called? It's called the AA gun. I'm going to call it the Crossroads because it is under, but you see how all the roads converge here like a crossroad? So in the Crossroads, you'll find this rocky crag area that is hiding a melee weapon. It doesn't have to be an energy sword. It can also be a gravity hammer.
Ordnance dropping from
It can be a little tricky to use in BTB, given that, one, you get focus fired a lot, and two, a lot of people have long-range weapons or mid-range weapons, so you can get shot up quite a bit, but it's useful to know, because, like, sometimes you can make really big plays with it. I think that's everything, though. Like, I don't think there's any other items. Let's go ahead and scout around the legs of the AA gun real quick. Yeah, that's those. And then over at the other leg, we've got... That's where the pulse carbine and the Hydra was. Oh, this actually didn't take as long as I thought. Like, yeah, using the mongoose really helps out. So the main thing, though, is you want to make sure you're aware of your soft vehicle counters. And by soft vehicle counters, I mean, like, they don't own the vehicle, but they definitely help. And in this case, at the red base, we had... I believe it was... Where was it? I think it was near the turret, actually. I'm pretty sure we had a shock rifle. Come on. Oh, no, we also have a disruptor. Where did we... I could have sworn I found a shock rifle. But a disruptor, it's worth carrying just because, like I said, get 7 shots on a vehicle, and then you can get it with some EMP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Works on anything. You can use it to bring down a helicopter, force it to the ground and whatnot. It's really just a handy thing to have, because a lot of people, they tend to panic when the vehicle gets EMP'd. They'll get out of the vehicle, and it can be a really big lifesaver. Next thing to remember is each side gets a power-up. So the red base gets it over here by the little, pillbox guard tower on the way to the Pelican, whereas the blue base, that's their bridge where the flag would be, and it goes into the cave, and they get another power-up. Over there by the Pelican, we can't see it from here. Remember, that's where the sniper rifle or skewer is. And then on the other hand, inside the cave, you got yourself either a cinder shot or a spanker. And then in the middle, directly underneath the turret in the Crossroads, you've got the melee weapon, which is... either going to be, the only melee weapons is either going to be a gravity hammer or it's going to be a sword. I don't think I'm going to do any respawns here. I might do. I'll do 1 or 2. I'll do 3. Okay, so the purpose of a respawn is exercises to see how much we've remembered. So I know that if I drop down right here, we're going to have weapons right behind me. I'm going to have, remember they're semi-random, but there's 1 long-range weapon, 1 close-range weapon. We've got either our battle rifles or, so like I said, this is an area, the reason I was kind of questioning whether I wanted to respawn exercise, because I feel like I'm going to spawn in the same place over and over again. But every time you spawn, just check to see if you got a battle rifle or if you got a commando rifle. That's going to give you such a huge advantage against people who are just running out with a, with their default equipment, the pistol and the assault rifle. And from here, you've got your choices. You have a vehicle spawn, possibly. You can go over there and see if you can get a power-up. There's a power weapon indoors, power weapon on the left side. But let's see. Let me see if I'm right and if it's going to constantly spawn us basically at the base. Yep, so I'm back at the base again. One more time. We'll see if it sends me somewhere different. Okay, I can tell I'm at the vehicle depot just because it's a little bit off-centered. The vehicle depot had obviously the vehicle, but one weapon. I believe it was a really basic weapon at that. Yeah, over here we had the pistol. This is a much weaker spawn. The only value to spawning over here would be if your main base is under attack. Because, I mean, you're basically stuck with your default weaponry. I mean, we could grab a pistol. I mean, I'm not saying the pistol is bad. Like, if you got to reload, you can just switch to the pistol and try to claim someone's head as a last-ditch effort to survive. I mean, I guess the good news is it does get you closer to this side, so if you wanted to make a push for the downed Pelican, just remember that it's really easy to get mowed down in the downed Pelican area. But yeah, I don't think the spawns are going to be all that diverse, so I think we can wrap this episode up. Overall, BTB, I mean, a lot of the power is out of your hands because it's a 12 versus 12 mode, but one of the things that you can definitely do to contribute is to try to get your hands on an anti-vehicle weapon, even if it's a soft counter like a shock weapon, but also make sure you're not leaving the base without some kind of a mid-range weapon like a battle rifle or a commando rifle. And yeah, now you know where some of the weapon spawns are. You probably have to explore this map on your own a few times, but knowing where those weapons are, because it's a long-range map, or such as a BTB map, there's a lot of long and mid-range combat. You're going to have such a gigantic advantage over people leaving the base with just the assault rifle and the pistol. Even if you have a pulse carbine, let's say you're fighting with a pulse carbine against about this distance right here to that rock. If he's using an assault rifle on you and you're using, let's say this is a pulse carbine, you can just lock onto him and like you will mow them down so bad, because remember the pulse carbine locks in and the bullets home in. It will destroy them. Like it will shred. It takes about 4 pulses. And like they may not even get through your shields because of how inaccurate the assault rifle gets when you hold the trigger down. If you're fighting at this range with an assault rifle, make sure you kind of fan the trigger a little bit, meaning fire in bursts and allow the recoil to die down. But yeah, like get your hands on a mid-range weapon or a long-range weapon. Try to get your hands on an anti-vehicle weapon. And if you do get one of those, you may want to play a little more passively and look for some vehicles to shut down. Because if you can shut their vehicles down and destroy them, that gives your team a huge advantage when you have the vehicles and they don't. Anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments section. Like the video if it was informative. Subscribe for future Halo Infinite content. And of course, remember that you don't have to be good to get good.